This tropical wave is rapidly organizing and is about to become Tropical Storm Erin, and once it does, it's likely going to strengthen into a hurricane rather quickly in just a few days as it heads west. In this video, I'll show you where Erin is going, how intense it could get, and what the models are saying about potential impacts. But first, if you're new here, feel free to hit that like button and subscribe for more tropical weather updates. So here's what things look like right now. This is Invest 97L right here. This is what's going to become Tropical Storm Erin, potentially as early as tonight, maybe tomorrow, or within the next few days. Then we have behind it another tropical wave right here that's going to be moving out into the tropical Atlantic in the next few days. Here's the NHC tropical weather outlook, and we have Invest 97 has a 50% chance of becoming a tropical cyclone in the next 48 hours and a 90% chance in the next 7 days. So this is pretty much gonna happen. And they're saying that only a small increase in how well organized the system is could actually turn this into a tropical depression as this goes over the Cape Verde Islands. And then if it doesn't happen tonight or tomorrow, it could definitely form over the next few days. Then we also have Invest 96. That's actually fading away. The forecast models did show a lot of development potential on that one a few days ago, but that is actually faded away because of all the dry air and also some wind shear that's messing it up. But Invest 97 is very likely to become Tropical Storm Erin pretty soon. Here's how it looks on satellite imagery. You can see a lot of intense thunderstorm activity has rapidly exploded across the storm system over the past few hours. Going over Cape Verde, we have a lot of convective activity. This is getting more organized very quickly. The track guidance shows this going over Cape Verde in the next 12 or so hours, tonight into early Monday. And then after that, it's going to head westward for the next several days. And this is where it can really start building up strength. And within the next 5 days, it should be heading close to the northeastern Caribbean in the next 5 to 7 days. Now, it does start to turn, so it does look like pretty much all the forecast models are keeping it away from the northeastern Caribbean. So fortunately, the northeastern Caribbean doesn't look like it's going to get hit from this. You should still be paying attention to it because it could create some elevated waves, potentially some rain depending on how close it gets, but nothing too bad with that. And then after that, the track guidance fans out as to where it's going to go. Some models taking it close to Bermuda, though. But in terms of the intensity, this is the big thing. It's going to become Tropical Storm Erin, according to these forecast models. In the next 24 to 48 hours, is most likely to see those tropical storm force winds starting, and then it really starts heating up, becoming a hurricane in the next 3 to 5 days or so. And then after that, it could even become a major hurricane. On some of these forecast models showing some wild rapid intensification all the way up to a category 3 or even a category 4 hurricane. We'll have to see if it does that. That could be, an extreme scenario, but it will be possible with how organized it is right now, and then going into a very low wind shear environment. There's some dry air, but not very much wind shear. Also, the tropical wave is very moist, and then we also have some warm sea surface temperatures. The sea surface temperatures right now, where it's starting out, are around 80 degrees, which is just barely favorable. Not that favorable for a tropical system to intensify very quickly, but here's what we do have. As it goes west, sea surface temperatures start to get warmer and going all the way up into the low to the mid 80s. And then once we get out here, as it's just north of the Caribbean, sea surface temperatures could be 85 degrees, which is quite warm and will definitely support some rapid strengthening. Even 86 degrees in some places. So sea surface temperatures are there. The moisture, not so much. The wind shear is also pretty light, so that shouldn't be a problem for intensification. Since it is becoming a tropical system, it's an invest and expected to become a tropical storm. There are hurricane models on it, like we saw the forecast guidance, but we also have models like this, the HAFS-A model from Tropical Tidbits. It shows a tropical storm over the next couple days around 45 miles an hour, and then it really takes off once we get out to around Thursday. Thursday looks like when it could really take off according to these models. It goes from having winds of about 50 to 60 miles an hour, going all the way up to 70 and even 80 miles an hour as it turns into a hurricane on Thursday night, going into early on Friday, and then it blows up from there. We have winds potentially over 100 to 105 miles an hour. That's a Category 2 hurricane. It could even get even more intense than this. This is just one of several hurricane models showing some significant intensification. We're going to be seeing Tropical Storm Erin in the next couple days, and it's probably going to become a hurricane. It has a lot of potential to intensify, but where's it going? Here's a look at the ensembles, which show the possibility of where it could go. The Euro ensemble right here is taking it just north of the northeastern Caribbean around next weekend, Saturday, August 16th, Sunday, August 17th. So we pretty much know where it's going to go in the next 5 to 7 days. But then after that is where things fan out. Some are showing that it could go towards South Florida. It could go towards the Bahamas. Probably not. A lot of them take it through the southwestern Atlantic, potentially impacting Bermuda. A lot of these forecast models point it towards Bermuda, so that's, at this point, is the most likely scenario, but some of these forecast ensembles do take it towards the east coast of the U.S., so it's still going to be something that people should be watching in the Bahamas, in Florida, along the southeast coast of the U.S., the east coast, even up Atlantic Canada, potentially as more of an extratropical system, but this is still something that could go anywhere. And of course, Bermuda should definitely be watching this. That's pretty much where it looks like it's most likely to go at this point, but that's definitely subject to change. Here's a look at the GFS model. The GFS model has actually been pretty much spot on with this one, showing development as early as today, and that's what we're seeing. It continues it as potentially a weak tropical depression or tropical storm for the next couple days until about Wednesday, and then Thursday is when it takes off. Like Wednesday night into Thursday night is that time frame where it looks like it's going to take off once it gets out to right here, and then it just takes off from there in terms of intensification. So here we have, it's already down to like 980 something millibars going into Thursday night into early Friday. And then it's a Category 2, maybe even a Category 3 by the time we get to Saturday evening, Saturday night into early Sunday. And then it could be going all the way down into the 945 millibar range by early on Monday. The GFS in this scenario keeps it just to the east of Bermuda, but also it's interacting with an upper level trough. So that's going to actually help to baroclinically intensify it, producing some of that favorable shear actually over it, and it could drop all the way down to 940 millibars, and then going to Monday night into Tuesday, still in that 940 something range, and it basically goes over Bermuda or just to the east, and then it moves off out into the northern Atlantic. Then we also have that next tropical wave out in the tropical Atlantic, and the GFS doesn't turn this one into anything, but we'll see what happens there. Here's what that wind shear looks like. As I was talking about, we have low wind shear just as this storm is intensifying. See 10 knots of wind shear, not bad. The moisture isn't really there, but then notice what happens as it really takes off. Shear drops down. Even now, the shear is 15 knots in this case, but some of that could be actually the shear generated by the outflow from the hurricane. That's why it looks like there's all this shear, but it's going away from the hurricane. Now it looks like there's more shear, but it's intensifying at the same time. So that's, as it's interacting with that trough, it could be baroclinically intensifying. For it to be intensifying under that shear is pretty interesting to see that happening. And here's that trough really catches up to it and then starts producing that baroclinic intensification and artificially enhancing the outflow on this hurricane. Now in this scenario it hits Bermuda and then just goes out to sea. Now the Euro model shows something quite different. Still the same thing over the next few days of it starting to intensify. Now the Euro model intensifies it much slower, and it always does this with a lot of tropical systems, doesn't really intensify them as much as they can intensify sometimes. But it's a strong tropical storm or a category 1 hurricane by Saturday, August 16th in the Euro model scenario. Then it actually goes west of Bermuda, and then it looks like it's headed towards the east coast of the U.S., headed toward the northeast, going to Wednesday, August 20th. This is very far out, and there's a lot that can change with the track of this system out past 7 days. This is just a possibility that it could go any number of places after this point. So we'll just have to keep watching it. Wednesday evening starts heading towards the northeast as a category 3 hurricane potentially, and then it starts to turn into a more extratropical system and clips the northeast, and then hits Newfoundland and the Labrador, almost like a Hurricane Lee type of scenario with that, or some of these other hurricanes that have stayed mostly out in the Atlantic, but then at the last minute turned and hit Atlantic Canada, or potentially even the northeastern U.S. Then we have that other tropical wave starting to move into the Bahamas around August 23rd, and then it actually intensifies into a hurricane pretty quickly. So that's another tropical wave that's down the road. But Erin is the thing to watch over the next couple weeks, as it is likely to intensify into a hurricane, but we don't necessarily know where exactly it's going to end up yet. The northeastern Caribbean looks fine for now, but still something to keep an eye on there too. The MJO is actually getting a bit more favorable, especially over Western Africa and also the tropical Atlantic over the next few days, going into August 15th and even August 20th to a lesser extent. And so that's why we're seeing more of these intense tropical waves. Now, after that, things look like they might tone down a little bit starting around August 25th, and then even going into September, where the MJO actually looks unfavorable over Western Africa and the tropical Atlantic. But that can change too, because this can shift around by quite a bit once you get out past several weeks. But there's also another hurricane actually happening in the eastern Pacific. We have Hurricane Henriette, which actually rapidly intensified out of nowhere. And right now it's a category 1, winds of 80 miles an hour. And they are thinking that, according to the NHC, this could actually become a category 2 with winds of 105 miles an hour. That rapid intensification continues. And then there's also Tropical Storm Ivo with winds of 40 miles an hour, not really expected to do much of anything. So yeah, that's pretty much what's happening out there in the tropics. If you like this video, please be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already, share the video, and make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications for more weather updates on the tropics. Thanks for watching. Extreme Weather Zone, out.